The Super Metal Brothers podcast is the best. Really great stuff. I was in my car listening, and I was like, there just is not a better podcast.
All right, welcome everybody. Today on Super Metal Bros, very exciting stuff. Doing another split EP review, this time with much more Blackened flavor going on. Today we'll be reviewing Oracle Spectre's Crows EP and Wraith by Sunscourge, also known as SeenFeen. If anybody's interested, we actually just did interviews with them in our Summon Sign interviews. They were separate. Go check those out. Cool ass fucking dudes.
Hey, so are you a band in the United States that needs merch? Or are you someone who is a really sloppy eater, drop shit on your shirt all day, and wants to change your shirt but don't want people to know, so you need the same shirt multiple times over and over again throughout the day? Seven Sins Printing is the company for you. They ship everywhere in the United States, and they have great prices, super cheap. Lots of the bands here locally in Dallas use them. So go over to sevensinsprinting.com and get yourself a stack of shirts and make yourself rich off of selling t-shirts. Like I said, local bands use them all the time here in Dallas. They do ship in the United States wide, so check them out, get a shirt, and just have fucking fun with it.
Before we get too into it, though, I kind of have a bone to pick with you, dude.
Uh-oh. What'd I do?
You had told me the other day, you had said something really fucking crazy. I couldn't believe my goddamn ears. You actually liked Blood Origins, The Witcher.
Oh, fuck yeah, I did.
Dude, what the fuck is up with that? Please, you need to elaborate further, because that was a giant piece of steaming shit.
Well, what initially brought me into Blood Origin was Merwin. She's fine as shit. And I've kind of always had
Which
this
one?
fantasy.
Is that the little one?
No, Merwin's the... No. I mean, I would. I mean, that'd be fun. But no, it was Merwin's like the princess, or like the one that becomes the queen.
Dude, she was pretty fire.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've always wanted to, like, I've had this thing ever since, what was that anime we watched back in the day, the like fantasy one?
Record of Lodoss War.
Yeah, Record of Lodoss War. Ever since then, I've had this thing. I've wanted to bang an elf that has like a 12-foot vertical. So I just think that would be fucking cool as shit. Yeah. And she doesn't have a 12-foot vertical, but she definitely fits the bill. Yeah, I mean, that's why I can't keep an elf in a shelf in my house during Christmas, dude. Because it's going to get stained. Because I just have a really weird fantasy about elves.
I would just like walk around with it on my penis, like hugging my penis.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the hot elves there have been. Like, friggin',
oh, dude.
What was it? Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, friggin',
Jesus.
What's it? Aerosmith dude's daughter?
Oh, Liv Tyler.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty bomb.
She's a banging elf, too.
Yeah, that's the whole aesthetic, dude. There's all these fucking e-thoughts that wear like elf ears, and all the incels are fucking killing themselves over them.
Hell yeah.
We should start rocking elf ears, dude. Maybe it'll bring in more viewers.
Yeah, it would be like elf kind.
Yeah,
so I can
elf kind.
Do it totally furry. I mean, that's what originally brought me into Blood Origins, because I was like, oh, she's fire, so I'll watch more.
That's somewhat validated now.
Yeah. I mean, the storyline was okay. The little dwarf chick was, I mean, at least it was a dwarf chick without a beard.
Dude, that little dwarf chick was definitely fucking that hammer.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that, dude. Like,
yeah.
You know, she was like putting it like on the ground, like head first, and just squatting on it.
Yeah. It was definitely like the show was definitely like woke, but it wasn't like as woke as what was it? Willow.
I actually thought, well, yeah, Willow is really fucking bad. I mean, I didn't get so much of the woke shit in Blood Origins, aside from fucking dudes like unable to sleep at night because there's black elves, I guess. I don't know, dude. That shit's so fucking retarded to me.
Yeah, that is dumb. The Lord of the Rings series or whatever the
Yeah,
Hobbit
dude,
series. Like
that
people are like,
shit's-
elves are not black. It's like they're fantasy, dude.
Yeah.
They could be whatever you want them to be.
I would say they're more so a fantasy now that we have ebony black elves, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my fave.
I thought Blood Origin though had like a good like climax to it, like in the story too. But I thought the Witchers though kind of had like weird friggin' climaxes. Like, what the fuck was up with the Velociraptors, dude? Like, first off,
Oh yeah.
we're in this world that somehow like shitty pop music has become famous before its time. Because like all the bards are singing like Charlie Puth style fucking pop music. I was like, okay. And then like there's Velociraptors. Like I didn't understand that whole thing, but hey.
No, that dude, listen, I have my gripes with The Witcher, the main fucking story. I'll get into that for a second. The really dumb part about Blood Origins was like at the end when the convergence of the spheres happens and like all the worlds collide or whatever. And like the elf dude like washes up on shore with like human beings, dude, and it's like it was like the first time like it was like he saw a fucking alien or something. He was like, "What are you?" It's like he just doesn't have pointy ears. I was like, and it got me thinking. I was like, dude, could you imagine like one of the first black dudes to ever see fucking white people and being like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, but there's way less. At least there's enough of a difference there that like you could be like, okay, that seems different.
Yeah.
But like ears, like come on now,
dude. Honestly, to kind of preface this is like I didn't read the books of The Witcher, so I don't really have anything to compare it to besides the games, which the games are really well done. But dude, even the Witcher series with Henry, dude, was fucking dog shit in my opinion, dude. Like, I mean,
yeah,
he was literally the only redeeming factor of that show, dude. Like,
yeah,
I'm convinced that's why that dude is so built, dude, is because he literally carries everything he's ever like acted in along with his big ass dick. Like, because I mean,
true.
dude, like honestly, Zack Snyder's Supermans were fucking mid. I love him as Superman, but those movies fucking blow.
Dude, he's one of the best Supermen that I can remember.
And then
since like the originals.
He fucking slays it as Geralt as a character, but
yeah,
dude, everything surrounding it is so fucking terrible.
It's too clean. That I was saying that with another series too. There was the Wheel of Time or whatever.
That show's dog shit.
Like, why are these people's fucking clothes so clean? Like, it makes no sense. Like,
dude, that was like in the second season, that was another big problem I had. I don't know who did like costume design for these shows, but you need to be fucking fired immediately.
Yeah.
When Yennefer in the second season, she's like, a wanted criminal, and she's like just roaming around in a bright ass fucking like pink cloak. And then, oh my god, dude, in that first season, the fucking scrotum armored. What the fuck was that, dude?
Yeah. My problem with that is they took the most fuckable character in Witcher and changed her so she's not fuckable anymore.
Yennefer?
Hell yeah. Like, I feel like I could have hit before the transformation.
I was like,
afterwards, she was totally unobtainable afterwards. I was like, I can't even think about it anymore. I was like, pre-Yennefer, definitely she would have let me hit.
That sex scene was super fucking awkward. I don't know why that was shoehorned in there, dude. I was like, I literally skipped it. I was like, dude, I don't want to see fucking mutilation porn. Like, I mean, obviously that's not the same thing. We go back to Pain Olympics. We know how it is. But
yeah, or the shock video generation.
Oh, dude, that's back when we used to one up each other, dude. I used to show everybody 2 Girls 1 Cup. It was good times.
Yeah. My favorite one still to this day was Cake Farter.
Oh no, fucking Kids in the Sandbox.
No, that one's just brutal, dude. Cake Farter.
That was the best one, dude.
Like 2 Girls 1 Cup was funny to watch other people watch, but Cake Farter, I watched with them every time. Just seeing her dip her ass on the cake and stand up in her butthole, just like Like every time. I was like, yes, every time. I loved getting people to watch that shit.
I would say back to The Witcher too, and then we can kind of move on. But the anime movie that they did, like The Nightmare of the Wolf, which like covers like the story of Vesemir, that one wasn't too bad, except like they did like the fucking cliche anime thing where they made like Vesemir like Giga Chad, like fuck boy, which is not his character whatsoever, like in the games or the books, dude. Like, but it's like in the vein of like Castlevania. It's like the same kind of art style and it's brutal as shit. That was probably the one good iteration so far of The Witcher. And I mean, any scene with Henry Cavill was pretty gold, but beyond that, I'm so stoked that he's doing 40K though. That shit's gonna be hard as fuck.
Yeah, I've been waiting. There's 2 like fantasy / sci-fi series that I wish they would do. One is 40K because there's just so much good storyline, and the other one was Dragonlance. But Henry's going to kill that because he fits the bill for like a space marine. He said he wants to do like Custodes, I think. Or no, that's what he plays. But I think he's going to probably be the God Emperor.
I think he's supposed to be like fucking Inquisitor. Or something like that.
Eisenhorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to do Eisenhorn. That's right.
Or it's going to tie into Eisenhorn somehow.
Well, Eisenhorn's a good story. I read the whole trilogy. It's probably one of the best sci-fi books I've read. That's like, like some sci-fi's like smut for your brain.
Yeah.
And that's like one of them. There's like nothing you're learning by it. It's just all ridiculous, but it's good.
Well, and it's just like, even in the writing, it's just ultra fucking hyper violent.
Yeah, that's all it is.
They spare no detail when it's like, I didn't realize there could be fucking 5 pages on how some dude got his fucking rib cage blown the fuck out, dude.
Yeah, it gets pretty deep, dude.
And
violently.
Then, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny because when we were like talking about The Witcher and I started thinking about it, when we did that interview with Josh, aka Oracle Spectre, he had mentioned that he had basically got into the Blackened symphonic game to fucking woo his now wife. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. And then he told us too that, a lot of the stories are about other people. And it got me thinking, I was like, dude, you're literally a fucking bard. You're playing other people's stories to get bitches, dude. That's what you're doing. He's the Blackened bard.
Yeah. What's the character from Witcher?
Dandelion. I forget his fucking name. He's I hate him. I don't know why. I fucking hate him.
He's the worst character.
Yeah.
I would have killed him if I was fucking Henry Cavill or whatever his character is. That shit sucked.
All right.
Anyways, getting to the meat of this episode, Split EP, Oracle Spectre, and Sunscourge.
Disclaimer, before we get into it, we decided to make a slight change in our review process. So going forward, including with this one, we will no longer be providing a final score. I've come to find, it was actually funny because I'd had this feeling for a little bit, like things were getting, kind of scored similarly. And I mean, all this shit's so subjective that I just hate putting a fucking number to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're doing away with the number shit. We're basically just going to say, we're going to highlight the things we like, highlight the things we don't like, and just critique it that way. And then basically at the end say, is this worth listening to? Is it fucking good, bad, or is it amazing? That's basically what we're doing.
Fair enough. Yeah. And the number's subjective anyways. I mean, there's no calculation you can come up to define your experience. Yeah. The reason we put these 2 bands together, we say bands, they're 2 solo artists really.
Yeah.
Is because we notice a lot of similarities. So Josh has followed us on Instagram since like the beginning. That's how I got into them. And then Sunscourge obviously is SeenFeen, is the solo artist who's the reactor. I watch his reaction videos. So I started looking into both of them and started noticing like they have a lot of similarities and features. And also their music, I'd say it can be put in the same subgenre. It's like really brutal. It's blackened. It's got a lot of similarities in that way. They're definitely different.
Yeah.
If you like one, I feel like you're going to like the other. So That's why I put them together.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap. It's almost ironic that they have like, SeenFeen has featured Josh on one of his tracks and they've kind of like bounced. I'm sure they've, bounced feedback off of each other and shit, but then they have a lot of similar features through like, Devin Duarte, for example.
And Blake Mullins.
Yeah.
From Disembodied Tyrant.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then just the fact that they both have Josh has a little more under his belt as far as a discography goes. He's done, Embrace the Shadow, God of Extinction, and then now we're at the Crows EP. So, but also SeenFeen has done Scarlet and now Wraith. So
2 EPs.
I mean, they're fucking trucking along, dude. There's no end in sight for these guys. They're just creating, and I'm genuinely liking what they're fucking making, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a new phenomenon, but it's definitely something we're going to see more in the future. Like bands using YouTube, like SeenFeen does. He does his reactions. Actually, his reaction videos came first, and then he decided to do his music to, kind of see what it takes to make a song and all that stuff. Because he said, who am I to, say what's good or what's bad? So he decided to do that. So that was cool. But, the content creators like SeenFeen becoming artists. And we're seeing that a lot. Now, not everybody does it in the same order, but, Will Ramos, he has gotten a lot of his hype from doing the stuff on YouTube, even though his music kind of came first for him. Mm-hmm. Then you have, Taylor, what's his last name from Left to Suffer?
Taylor Barber.
Yeah, Taylor Barber, who I feel like he kind of started with YouTube and went on the other way. So they're kind of like happening. Even Andrew Baina now, and then Johnny from Angel Maker. They're getting more hype on their bands, whether the YouTube comes first or the band comes first, by doing this thing. And also we have these solo projects. I know like Meth Witch is one of those. Mm-hmm. Now we got SeenFeen and Josh, and we got a bunch of, or Sean is SeenFeen, if anybody doesn't know. There's a lot of people doing these solo projects, and just the availability to, program your drums, program your bass if you need to, maybe play guitar. You can't really program guitar at this moment, but I'm sure that will be something in the future that people are going to be able to pull off, and then, wrap it all up, send it to someone to produce it or produce it yourself, and then put it out. And we're getting quality that way. I feel like people used to do that, but it definitely wasn't quality. It was all friggin', like you say, cats fucking in a trash can. Yeah. That's what it sounded, my demo tape type shit back in the day. So it's interesting to see how these guys kind of thrive. I feel like COVID really accelerated that idea of the like content creator / musician, because people just weren't going out and doing anything. So like they had the time, they had their computer, they had Reaper or whatever, DAW that they had, and they just started laying down stuff. So we're going to see a lot more of this. I think this is the post-COVID era. It probably contributed a lot to the kind of uptick in metal in general that we're seeing right now.
And I mean, we'll start with Oracle Spectre, and then we'll do Sunscourge. But one other thing I wanted to highlight that I thought was interesting is not only do they make it's like they're almost like two sides of the same coin in a way, because like they're similar but different. But these are, good examples of probably like what you want to shoot for in your own sound when you first start, because I mean, I'd say they set the bars pretty high for being, solo artists, but they did kind of go different routes. So where Josh had mixed, mastered, produced it all himself, Sean did, he did write all the instruments and do all that, program all the drums and bass lines and all that. But then he instead of doing fucking around with the mix and master, sent it off to someone to have it professionally mixed and mastered for him. But I would say either way, if your first release can sound like either of these things, you're off to a good fucking start.
Hell yeah, definitely. You're way beyond a start at that point. All right, so you want to get into it?
Yeah, so the first EP we're covering, obviously, Oracle Spectre, the Crows EP. The release date was March 1st in 2023, so pretty recent. It contains 3 songs. Total time clocking in for the album is about 14 minutes and 35 seconds. 3 songs, track 1, we have Reaper of Dreams featuring Devin Duarte from Worm Shepherd. At song number 2, we have The Atlas and Ungodly Plague featuring Dawn Parchment. And then finally, we have the third track, Crows, also the title track. And this one is completely Josh's own baby. He does all the vocals. He does everything with this one. So
yeah, that's on Crows. That's the only one he doesn't have a feature on. Yep. Yeah. So let's go ahead and dive into it.
Yeah, this first track, Reaper of Dreams featuring Devin. Yeah, so this song definitely has like a lot of Blackened symphonic flavor. I mean, the whole album does. This one was pretty interesting, especially after Josh had kind of shed some light on what the lyrics mean, because I wouldn't have honestly known what the story behind the song was unless he had elaborated for us. So the song Reaper of Dreams basically tells the story of piece of shit parent descending through hell and being taunted by demons. The reason he's being sent to hell, the reason he's being taunted by these demons is because he basically thwarted all hope for their children to, you know, have hopes and dreams in their lives. Just made them feel like they were never going to amount to anything. And that's why this person's going to hell, which is, I gotta say, that's a pretty unique way or, you know, theme for a song, in my opinion. I'm sure there's like songs out there that like cover something similar, but I really like the way he chose to write this album, and the lyrics do reflect that within the song.
Yeah.
But the first clip I want to play, so this is going to give you, I'm going to play a minute, going to be from the 30-second mark to 1:30 exactly. In here, I just want to showcase like just some of the chaos and just how multi-layered, kind of get an idea of what, you know, to expect from this album. I think this is a good representation of what the album, you know, is going to sound like for you.
I like that whole sequence. I chose that same clip from this song. It definitely like that. It has a bunch of different parts. It kind of flows into each other. I like how Josh comes in with his just crazy vocals. It's crazy to believe that dude has only been doing vocals for 2 years.
You know what I really enjoy about that clip and why I chose it was like the up and down journey it takes you on, because it, you know, you get these really nice melodic symphonics going on. You get like some kind of Blackened riffs that kind of sit a little lower, and then it goes into like this just sludgy fucking like almost slam, you know, fucking riff where, because it, you know, it's really bass heavy, it's just super fucking sludgy, it's got a lot of impact. And then it goes into like kind of like a little bit of like a groovy riff, dude. So like, yeah, it's constant chaos throughout the EP. It's constantly fucking changing up, and it just leaves you fucking guessing, dude.
Every time we say slam, we should just put in like a clip of that KRS-One song. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police, because the fucking slam police are coming out every time.
Fuck them, dude.
Yeah, so moving on to the next song.
Yeah, so something I kind of want to mention with this EP and the song, you know, obviously Josh really, the emphasis is on the symphonics. He wants this to be a symphonic deathcore album, probably a little less so than like a Blackened album. So he made that distinction. All right, moving on. Track 2, The Atlas and the Ungodly Plague, featuring Dawn Parchment. I'm just going to go ahead and say, just right out the gate, this was my favorite song off the EP.
Interesting. Yeah, I got a clip that kind of starts at the very beginning of the song. It has a breakdown in it, and I really like just how heavy it hits. I mean, this whole EP is brutal. I think that it could, whatever he calls his genre, he could put brutal in the front of it. because it just goes. It never really stops. The symphonics really just give it flavor, but really everything in front of the symphonics is definitely taking the lead, if you will, on the whole thing. So let's bring up that clip. Okay, so this clip starts, like I said, at 15 seconds. We're actually going to play about 2 minutes of this, so we're gonna keep it going throughout. The breakdown's what I really liked about it.
Keep in mind all those symphonics Josh is doing himself too, which is fucking insane. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, dude. But basically, and this is going to be a critique from me because I love this section of the song too. That riff that's right around the 115 mark to like 215, that fucking guitar riff that comes in with the verse, dude. I fucking love that riff. It's by far my favorite guitar riff on the total EP. But I feel like it sits really low in the mix compared to like the symphonics are also very forward. That I think when you have riffs like that can stand on their own, like they need to kind of do just that, right? Is like you have that section, you know, just be up higher in the mix, maybe a little more forward. And then, you know, when you want to get back into the symphonic parts, you know, then dial it back again. But that's just me.
Fair. That's fair. The reason I chose that particular, so my timestamp actually was about 140 to 225, and that's where that breakdown hits. And I just, you know, if you're going to do the pianos and stuff like that, it really gives them like a chance to shine in breakdown moments because there's those stops for the guitar and drums and everything that kind of let them come out to the front. So it's a really easy way to take like a hardcore breakdown, if you will, and give it some more flavor. You know, it's not just Unga Bunga, you know, there's a little like, there's some Fibonacci to it. So it definitely, I think that was probably my favorite breakdown off the EP on that song. So
I don't know. So I'll play one more, but so I want to play actually maybe two more clips. We'll go a little bit forward with where we're at right now, which is at 232. So I want to showcase the chorus, which is when we had spoken in our interview, I had said that this gave me huge Lorna Shore vibes. And you can hear it in the melody of the symphonics. And here we go. Wait for it. Yeah, so that part felt straight out of fucking Lorna Shore's Immortal album.
This song actually has a bunch of shit sprinkled in. I could have sampled the whole song if I was being real honest with myself.
Easily.
Since you brought up Lorna Shore, I'll bring up my next clip, which takes place at the 5:35 mark. Just listen to the solo, and then we'll talk about it after the clip plays. We'll go ahead and pause it there. Yeah. So that solo definitely reminds me of, now I have to admit, I'm not an old school Lorna fan. I've gotten into them more recently, probably in the last year. So Pain Remains is my like main anchor when I hear Lorna Shore. So, and I hear that there, I'm pretty sure that this was written before Pain Remains, but I do still think it shows that similarity there, or that influence, better said.
Yeah.
That's a solo that sounds like it could have been on Pain Remains. I'd say where Lorna does it a little differently is I know on the Pain Remains album that Will tends to follow the guitar, or better said, the guitar follows him. They're kind of synchronized, but that solo by itself kind of reminded me of all that. And I like how he added that kind of extra delay at the end there, and kind of gave it a little bit extra flavor at the end. I thought it was pretty masterful. Not like a hugely complicated solo. It's very melodic. Yeah, in terms of how it's played. It's more of a feely type solo, but it definitely gets a little technical towards the end, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm glad he gave us a good solo there.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean the solo is awesome, dude. And another thing I notice is like, I mean, obviously another thing I've noticed about Lorna, and he kind of did a similar thing here, is that solo and that melody matched the melody of the chorus. Which, if you'd listen to Pain Remains, what they did, a lot of people actually had a lot of issues with this because they felt like Pain Remains was very telegraphed in a way. It was like, once you heard that opening like melody, you already knew the melody of the song going forward.
Yeah, there was like no surprises.
Yeah. But so I don't know if that, I guess that could be attributed to a lot of bands. I mean, that's just songwriting, dude. I mean, unless you're writing progressive shit, I don't see like why, you know, all the melody wouldn't be kind of in sync with each other. But
yeah, it's like, I mean, foreshadowing is definitely something that is a great like technique to use in songwriting.
Yeah.
I think that it's actually pretty smart. Actually, one of the best, not that this sounds like it, but Chelsea Grin, and I think it was the song was Don't Ask, Don't Tell. They kind of sell like the breakdown from that song at one point. I think it's in like the verse of the chorus, where they just give you a little like 2-second clip of it and then go back into the song. And then they hit the breakdown. When the next time they hit it, they go into the full breakdown. It was a little like foreshadowing. Yeah. And I love when bands do shit like that, because it like gets you a little pumped for what's coming. Yeah. And actually, the New Signs, they did a little bit of that too. The New Signs of the Swarm song. Yeah. Amongst the Low and Heavy. Foreshadowing is a great technique.
Amongst the Low and Heavy. That's how fucking, you said amongst the low and heavy.
That's the way I say, fuck it. That's what it is.
That's low and heavy, dude. Yeah. No lies there.
Fuck yeah.
No lies detected. All right. Yeah, dude. Again, this was just my favorite song. Don Parchment does a fucking great job on this track too with his vocals. Love everything about it. And not necessarily because it sounds, you know, reminiscent of Lorna. I just genuinely vibed with it, dude. It was my shit from front to back. So
yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask Josh when we did the interview, but one of the things I wonder is I know Sean from Sunscourge, he said he wrote all of his songs in order. So the order they appear is the order that he wrote them. So you can see a progression of him as an artist throughout his music. And I noticed that with Oracle Spectre as well. I feel like there was definitely a progression. So I wonder if he wrote them in like sequentially, like in order time frame wise.
Well, it's hard to say. I know Crows for sure came last because he said that was the one that was supposed to be Dark Star Omen, you know, that ended up not coming to fruition. But I will say this track does, I would say it's very subtle, but the mixes seem just slightly different than the other two songs. So I actually have a feeling this might have been the first song written. I could be wrong about that. But anyways, going forward, now moving on to the final track.
Crows. So for me, Crows was actually my favorite. And I'll get a little bit into it now, and then afterwards I'll explain more. But basically, I really like that this was what I was just saying. I wonder if it was sequential, because this one feels like a more confident song to me. It's Josh alone, so no feature on this song. And so it's all his vocals. And I feel like the song structure is just a little bit more solid, and the writing of it was good. I feel like he got into a groove with this one. And now that we're one of the few people in the world that's heard his new track that hasn't been released yet, I definitely see a progression, and this being the step that led to his next song that's coming out. So I really enjoyed his songwriting on this one, and his vocals. He just goes off on this. So I'm actually going to play just the opening 40 seconds here just to highlight some of his vocals. So here we go. So I'll go ahead and stop it there. So that was actually more like the first minute, not the first 40 seconds. Yeah. But the that first pukey sound, his booger kid, when he comes in, I just felt like it was more, I feel like singers who are really like discovering themselves, they do too much. You know, they're just constantly feel like they have to do something. The way he came in, waited, let the song kind of get the feel going. And then he came in with those vocals, and he was low, he went high. It was more controlled than I feel like on the other songs. And I just really enjoyed his vocal performance in general on here. And he's his own feature on this song. I mean, I think that he really brought it to this song.
No, I think, dude, if nothing else, I mean, listen, I would love to see Oracle Spectre just evolve and become its own thing. And I wish Josh nothing but success, and I'm sure he's going to find it. But even besides that, dude, someone will catch wind of this besides King Malice. Josh is going to get picked up by somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
I can almost fucking guarantee it, dude. Like whether, you know, it's being part of another project or they want him to do vocals or do guitars. I mean, and we're already seeing that, you know, well, he hasn't released anything with King Malice, but they're working towards something is my understanding with that.
Yeah. And other artists, I mean, Blake definitely noticed him. They, you know, did some stuff together. I think I can't remember if that was the one where they met in like a Discord, possibly. I know they're around the same area of the world in California somewhere. So at least it seems like it. So he's definitely getting noticed is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I feel like how could this guy not get noticed? His vocals are insane. And his guitar playing's good. Even in this song, you hear all the use of the the whammy pedal. He does some drops in there. He raises it up. Got a lot more dynamic, and he does have that sprinkled in throughout. I feel like it was just executed the best in this song.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely has its own identity, and I think that's probably part of the reason that, you know, maybe he did want to do the vocals himself. I'm sure he was very proud of, you know, how this song turned out, and he just wanted to give it his all. That's my assumption anyways. So I do have a clip that I want to showcase, because there's some dummy fucking jun in these songs, dude, and I love those. Are my favorite parts. I love the fucking rhythmic shit, dude. So this is at right around the 208 mark. And then hold up. And then, back into symphonics, dude. But yeah, I love those little parts he peppers in with some groove, dude. He's really trying to, fucking check all the boxes, dude, in a 3-song EP, which I kind of appreciate, because it makes it chaotic by nature. When you really try to like add a little bit of every spice into it, man.
Yeah, I know Josh will listen to this. So Josh, tell me if I'm right. That felt like a moment that you're probably playing through the song and you just hit something, because it's like probably a 0, so he's just palm muting, but just got that groove. And when you hit it, you just want, fuck yeah, that's going in the song. Yeah, because it just comes to you all of a sudden,
dude.
It was definitely a vibey moment.
Yeah,
I actually chose that same clip because I like the whole sequence of it, and that's what I was getting into earlier as well with the songwriting structure here being a little different. I noticed bands who are really, really skilled at especially in deathcore, like writing songs. They implement these sequences that change a bunch of times. So they're not just doing the ABC formula, right?
Yeah.
They bring in like AB, and it's like CDEFG and then AB, they put in all this shit that you don't get anywhere else in the song. And
up, down, start, select.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like the songwriting in that, like for me, these type of things, they teach me, like I come up with a bunch of ideas and I usually end up choosing one, and I'm learning from like songs like this. I don't need to choose one. I just need to implement those maybe a little bit better, get the timing right. So
yeah,
this is actually, if you can't tell, my favorite song on the EP. I thought it was great.
Well, and this kind of goes back into your foreshadowing thing, dude, because I feel like this is where he starts to kind of maybe test the waters of like the Darko sound, when you got some of that screechiness, dude. You got some bump in there, dude. The fucking down tuning of the fucking guitars was super like genty. Like, yeah. I mean, he was definitely, you could tell he was definitely, that's probably what inspired that section, to be honest. All right. Well, Josh, killer fucking album. Let's move on to the pros and cons. You ready? You fucking asked for it. All right. The critiques are coming, baby.
Yeah, he said he wanted the real. We're going to give you the real. I'll start it off. So
yeah, go for it.
Obviously, it's 3 tracks on the EP.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say that my favorite is Crows, and that's because I felt like Crows, like I said, has best song structure, songwriting. I think he went off with the vocals a lot more. I felt a lot more confidence in that song than the other 2. Atlas is probably my number 2 off of the EP, and then Reaper was my number 3. I do have to say, for me, and this is a personal preference thing, even though Devin, he's like outrageous on vocals, and I know a lot of people like Warm Shepherd, I'm not so into like those vocals. They're too much for me. They kind of do like all the like
where they were like kind of fading in and out, like that section.
I think it's like a flanger is the name of like the effect that he puts on it, which is cool. I just don't groove with it. but that's Devin's style. And I know a lot of people like it. So it's more of personal preference. I think that's why I didn't like Reaper of Dreams as much. I just feel like that Josh needed to drop the features and do a song himself because he's got the chops for it. So that's why I lean more towards Crows. If I was being really honest, Crows is definitely more my style. Has groove parts and things like that. Atlas had the solo that I really liked because I'm a guitar player. I like that type of stuff. I would say it's definitely Crows is the song that on this EP that I'll keep going back to. So yeah, that's really my pros and cons there.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would say obviously number one for me was the Atlas, and then number two for me was Crows. Yeah, Reaper of Dreams, it just felt off a little bit. Like it felt different from the rest of the EP. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because, I mean, that music can jive for somebody else, but didn't do much for me. So I'm kind of with you on that one. For me, I mean, I love the symphonics of the album, especially in the Atlas. I think that's what really stood out to me. There was that part after the riff I was talking about, like from the 115 to the 215 mark. After that riff, you get that piano symphonic, dude, that almost follows like a harp progression. Like it almost sounds like it could be like someone playing a harp. Loved that part. Dude, the symphonics are fucking outstanding on this EP. The fact that one dude did this, I need to get whatever fucking software he's using because that shit's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think software is going to save you on that one.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of an enigma, man.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an AI that's going to save you from that. I think that after talking to him, and this is probably the last thing I'll say about the EP, I really think that he's a guy who's miles ahead of where he knows he is. I think that he's reserving himself a little bit because he's just starting out. Like I said, he just started singing like 2 years ago, like doing these gutturals.
That's crazy because I feel the same. It's like this untapped potential, dude. He's like a fucking anime character. He's like Naruto that hasn't discovered that he has a fucking fox demon in him yet.
Yeah. It's like a guy who plays Eruption on guitar and tells you he sucks. You know?
Yeah.
You're pretty good, dude. You're doing all right. So I feel like whatever, and we said this in the interview, whatever issues we had with this EP, I'm pretty sure he's already worked out on his own. He doesn't even need me to comment on.
For sure.
Hearing that next track that's coming out, I know for a fact he's already gotten some feedback or listened himself and gave himself feedback to increase on. So I think whatever comes next is going to be this is good. Whatever comes next is going to be probably great. That's what I'm expecting from him.
Yeah. So I'll fire off my pros and cons, but I'll preface it with that. What cons I do have, I can tell you I'm confident he has addressed with his next release. So the pros for me, basically, the sheer chaos of the album just brought some of its highlights, dude. It was fun to listen to. Again, the symphonics were really well done. I also enjoyed the themes and the stories that he told within the music with his lyrics. Overall, the album was just brutal as shit, dude. A lot of Blackened deathcore album. Like, I would put it over a lot of, Blackened deathcore I hear, because it's just so saturated, but this stood out to me. Yeah, definitely. It's a keeper in my eyes, dude. I fucking love it. Now we'll get into the cons. So this will be counterintuitive. Also, while I enjoyed the chaos, there were some parts it was kind of to its detriment in some parts. And what I mean by that is there was some transitions that worked really well in the album. There was others that didn't work so well. And there's examples of that. And I would say in Reaper of Dreams and the Atlas, like how it basically went from that, super heavy fucking groovy breakdown to, back into the symphonics. What I noticed, it just felt like in the transition, like the song just kind of lost steam, from going from one part to another. So it's like we went up real high and then we just, came back down real low. So that's just one of my, and again, I feel like he's probably addressed that with the new release based on the latest song we've heard. There was also some parts with the lyrics that like felt like he was trying to, obviously he wanted to tell a story. There was just some parts where the lyrics just didn't flow very well. Like it was just like overcrowded in certain parts. And then lastly, and this isn't a major gripe, especially because he did this all himself, man. Like, I mean, I could only hope to do, release something this good, in my opinion. But there's some slight inconsistencies, kind of what I had highlighted, why I felt the Atlas was written first, because I felt like there was some inconsistencies with the mix, but it's, you can hardly tell. It's very subtle. I just felt like some of the drums and things just sat at different levels from time to time, but not a big deal. I mean, overall, it's a great fucking album. I'd recommend it to anybody, especially, I mean, if you're, feeling that, which you shouldn't be, but if you're feeling like there's a drought of Blackened symphonic, here's this for you. You'll love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Overall, I think we're going to give it 2 fantasy velociraptors and 1 sexy elf bitch. That's my rating.
I'm going to give it 10 Blackened bards.
10 Blackened bards. Got it. Nailed it. So we're going to move on.
No, it's really good. Good job, Josh.
Yeah. Good job, man. Yeah, we got to say that he looks like you need to shave your head and cosplay Ned Flanders. We're just going to say it, dude. We know you don't like it, but we're here to say shit you don't want to hear. So that's it. All right.
That's one of them. That's one of our critiques.
Yeah, it's one of our critiques. All right. So going into the next EP.
Sunscourge.
Sunscourge.
Sean, aka SeenFeen. The EP is called, obviously the band's called Sunscourge. This is Sean's another solo project, but he had a little help on this one. But for the most part, again, just a one-man band, dude, and fucking slaying it. So the album name, or the EP rather, is called Wraith, has 3 tracks. It was released March 31st, 23, so another little overlap that they released. It's kind of weird, dude, like how parallel these EPs are running to each other. So yeah, the 3 tracks include track number 1, Blight Chalice. Again, this one's featuring Devin Duarte, similar to Oracle Spectre. Second track, we have Embrace of Vacuity, featuring Johnny from Carcosa, also Angel Maker. And lastly, we have Mourn, O Child in Decay, featuring Blake Mullins. Yeah, this is another solid one, man, but in a different fashion, in different ways. So Sean kind of went into this one where Scarlet, the previous EP, had kind of written as like a little more like standard deathcore, I guess. Maybe standard's the wrong word, because that certainly stands out as an album. But he wanted this one in particular to have more of a Blackened feel, and that definitely reflects in the music, dude. There's a lot of Blackened riffs. There's a lot of fucking tremolo fucking picking and shit, dude. It's just littered throughout. I would say, dude, for, if you're not into this style of music, I would say this EP is very beginner friendly, maybe. I would say, as far as like, it's very palatable. It's very easy to listen to.
I actually noticed, if you want to hear the sounds of this type of music, this kind of Blackened, I would also include this. I would put brutal on the front of whatever genre that, Sean dubs this to be. But it's definitely like Blackened deathcore. I feel like it's, for me, I think it's a little bit harder than, like, if you will, mainstream deathcore in terms of like aesthetic. It's darker.
Yeah, I might have to fucking retract my statement, because maybe it's not so easy to listen to for a newcomer, dude. It was easy for me to listen to.
Yeah.
It flowed very well.
That's what I was getting at, is like, there's like a bunch of the sounds of, like, if you like Blackened, if you like Demu, or any of those type of bands that fall under this genre, I would definitely say that this is a good intro to that, because you get a little bit, he's definitely influenced by a lot of different things in this kind of dark, extreme, death metal / deathcore realm. So you get a hint of a little bit of everything. He kind of sprinkled it all in. I'll take the first clip. So this starts at about 45 seconds, goes to about the 130. This is like I really like this guitar riff, and it goes into like transitions into this ambient part. And I think this is Sean's like signature. He definitely, he has ambience in all of his songs, both EPs, but the way he does ambience is different from what I've heard. It's definitely his signature style. So I think this highlights it real well. So I'll go ahead and stop it there. I think that's a good intro to this EP because there's a lot of that sprinkled in. And all that ambience, I'm pretty sure, is done with guitar. Doesn't sound like there's anything else.
Yeah,
sprinkled
that's
in
what he
there.
had mentioned. I'm hoping that's right because I might have misunderstood. Maybe he was talking about the first album because there's definitely some parts in there that definitely sound choir like, and that would be hard to replicate with. I feel like with a guitar, but I mean, if he is doing all that with a guitar, like he had mentioned, again, under the assumption that I wasn't misunderstanding, that's fucking crazy, dude.
I mean, you can get pretty crazy with guitar effects and stuff like that. And just sometimes when you layer the guitar right, it just gives it a different sound or different feeling.
Yeah, depending on where it sits. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you might, because I mistake a lot of guitar playing for like, piano or synth or vice versa. Happens all the time. It just depends on how you mix it and what effects you have on and the tone that you choose. So you can definitely achieve a lot of sounds with the guitar. That's why that's why it is the most popular instrument in the world, because it's so versatile. He definitely uses it in a lot of different ways. There's a little breakdown there. I like that riff that led into that ambience. And that ambience, I think, is signature him. I think that's signature Sean.
Yeah, because it's used as to support the music as opposed to like sitting at the front, stealing the show. It's all there to support the music, which I really like that part. And that's why, like, not to compare the two EPs, but they're similar. They run parallel, but they're very different in the vision of them in a way that's like, it was fun to listen to both of them like simultaneously side by side. I want to go ahead and show one of my favorite parts on this. And this is actually one of my praises for the EP is Devin Duarte just fucking goes off at this part, but also, the features he had between Johnny, Blake, and Devin, they just brought their fucking A game on this EP, dude. Like, this is like an all-star effort as far as vocals go. So this clip,
it's worth mentioning before we go into the next clip that Sean doesn't do any vocals on his stuff. So he's purely guitar. I think he does all the mixing, the pre-production, and then he does anything that's sprinkled in there. So drums, bass, all that stuff. So he gets it all in, and then he leaves room for the vocalists to come in and do their thing.
So this clip's at the 2:18 mark, and we're just gonna get some filthy fucking pig noises from Devin. And here we go.
I love that scrape you did right there. I love those little nuance things.
That's a little taste, dude. But what's funny is because this one he had mentioned that he did write the lyrics for, and I will say that was another credit with this EP is the lyrics flowed really well and seamlessly. They're pretty well written. I would say some more than others. The way they flowed, there was a rhythm, good rhyming within the lyrics as well. So bonus points for all that. I was trying to like follow along with the lyrics to this song, and like once it started getting into that shit, I was like, I fucking give up. I was like, he ain't saying none of that shit, dude. I don't give a fuck. He didn't say none of that, dude. But like I love it regardless. But then it was funny, dude. I had a thought where because like kind of going back to how like Josh used Blackened symphonic to like bag his wife. I was like thinking of like Devin Duarte had fucking like written a love song to someone. It's just like it's like, oh my god, that's the sweetest thing anybody's ever said to me.
With some flanger on it.
Yeah.
And I wonder on this track specifically, because I don't want to spend the whole time comparing the two, because that's definitely not the intent of this.
No.
But I heard Devin's vocals on Josh's and then Devin's vocals here, this was a lot more aligned with what I like. So I wonder if the difference is that you got Josh, who is a vocalist, who had probably vocal parts. I'm not sure if he started with it and then let Devin fill in or vice versa. But I would think that if you're writing lyrics and writing the melodies or whatever you want to call them, what you do with your voice, you're going to want to kind of match in some way what the other vocalist is doing when you have a 2 vocalist song, right? In this case, I think that Devin just had the world. He had the sound and he could do what he wanted with it. Mm-hmm. So that may be the difference in those 2 songs. Here is this is Devin just purely going, these are the lyrics, this is what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm laying down. Whereas on the other one, he had Josh and that he had to play off of. And not that one is better than the other, but that I did notice that Devin's performance here was a lot different.
The lyrics and stuff, again, gave me like a lot of heavy Elden Ring themes. I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit hole, but I would say there's definitely fucking Elden Ring inspired lyrics peppered throughout this EP. This was just a solid track and a solid opener. But I think we can move on to track number 2, which again was Embrace of Vacuity, featuring Johnny from Angel Maker and Carcosa. Johnny do indeed got fucking growls, dude. That's what I can say, dude.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Full transparency. This was my favorite track off the EP as well. Yeah, this track, Johnny just fucking slays this track, dude. I mean, like his vocals are so fucking relentless and they're crisp, dude. The fidelity of the recording for the whole track, dude, not even just the vocals, is just insane. That kind of shows that like there is something to be said about like, letting people who know what the fuck they're doing with mixing and mastering and production, like when you'll get a sample here shortly, but again, the fidelity's just off the charts. Like you can hear a fucking pin drop through all the chaos. So the clip I'm going to play it's from 236 to 340. I'm just a sucker for groovy jun-juns, dude. So this is kind of different from the rest of the song, but it's the part that stood out to me the most and the part I enjoyed. So here it is. God damn. Yep. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and just pause it there. And yeah, that's another callback to his fucking his ambience, dude. That was definitely one of the highlights of the EP for me. Is just how well done the ambience was.
Like I said, his ambience is definitely his style, and that's what gives him the flavor that I actually have learned to enjoy. Like full disclosure for me, the first time I heard this EP, I thought it wasn't for me, and I was having trouble finding things to sample
like
on
it.
Yeah, I don't know to say to like about it, but nothing was really standing out. Mm-hmm. And then, because we were doing the split EP and, things like that, I started listening to it more and more. And actually, I started really grooving with it. And I think we talked about this with Sean. The song you like the first time you hear, most likely you're not going to listen to forever. The song that you like 3-4 times after listening to it 3-4 times, that's a song you end up listening to forever.
Yeah.
I feel like this has definitely grown on me in a way that actually I'm going to come back to it and really enjoy it. So I actually wanted to highlight one part. I'm going to play the clip first and then we'll talk about it. And let's go. right, I'll stop it there. So there's something that I noticed that's kind of another signature thing for Sean, because I know that he programs the drums on this, is where he places his snare. And I noticed it on the last clip that you played, this clip. So if you rock your head, a lot of times you're rocking your head to the cymbal
Yeah,
hit.
yeah.
But also the snare is another head rocker. So it's like the little rock, and then the snare is the big rock, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I notice he does this a lot where the first snare hit will be right where you expect it. And then the second and or third one will be before or after the beat that you're expecting. So I'm not sure if this is maybe a time signature thing. I know there's a thing where you kind of change up the snare. I can't remember the name for it right now, but it changes the sound of the song. And it's just by changing where you put the snare. And it actually creates like a huge dynamic change when you do it. And all it is a snare change. So I like how he does that because it kind of hits at spots where you're not expecting it to.
Yeah.
But it fits and it sounds really cool. And it gives him kind of a signature sound. And he plays with the beat a lot. So I've noticed, like, even in Deathblight and that guitar riff that I played, he was kind of ahead of the beat. Like I noticed he was real chuggy, but he was chugging like just before you're expecting it to hit. And then here he's using the snare in the same way, but it's a little after you're expecting it to hit. So it might be a time signature that I'm not picking up because I'm not good with time signatures, or it might be just like he's mixing it up because it does get kind of monotonous to like keep hitting the snare at the same spot, makes it sound electronic. This makes it sound really like authentic. I'm pretty sure this is programmed drums. So it's very authentic sounding, like someone's actually playing the drums.
Well, it's interesting because you just reminded me when we had done the interview with him, is when we had asked him his writing process, he had said that basically he started with drums. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder if that has a lot to do with it, is basically, which is, I mean, if you can do it that way, I mean, that's phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
It feels like you got to start with the melody and the riff first and then fucking add drums to complement it. To do it ass backwards from that, dude, is like kind of crazy to me, dude. So that's probably, there's probably a lot of nuance within the drums.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, for that reason, dude. So
yeah, and I know he has a deep background, or at least he's listened a lot to Blackened stuff. And he goes a lot deeper than I do on that stuff. So that may be something that he heard from those and I just didn't pick up on because I never went down that path. To me, it sounds new in his stuff, and it gives it flavor that is different than what I'm hearing in other like music. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed that. When I was like rocking my head to it today, I was like, man, he's really putting that snare in. Like every time it feels like the measure restarts, like the snare hits in a different spot. And it's kind of mind blowing. It's like, man, it made me rethink how I program my drums.
And I kind of agree with you that, like, because I feel like Oracle Spectre, again, not to compare the two, but we were listening to these side by side. So it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, yeah.
The Crows EP to kind of like, pop off immediately and like, kind of stand out, where this took a few listens to like get a groove of it and kind of make sense of it all, and kind of get an idea of what he was going for. But then the more and more I listened to it, I mean, the better and better it just, continued to get for me.
Yeah, I can't imagine a drummer trying to get on that song and being like just going, okay, I'm going to get the snare only, and just being like, here, no, God damn it. Here, God damn it.
Oh, dude, there's this dude on a kind of side rant, but there's this dude on Instagram. He's a drummer, but he was like, he started recording like basically like a day by day process trying to learn fucking Bleed by Meshuggah, dude. He's on like day 15 too. It's just funny to watch, dude, because it's like that shit's, you don't realize how fucking difficult that song is to actually play until like you see an actual drummer like fucking struggling with it, dude.
Yeah.
I can't imagine people playing this shit, dude. Like never in my life.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's an odd time signature. I might be wrong. Let me know, Sean. Or if you know the time signature, put it down in the comments. We can do that dumb shit too. Anyways, let's get into the last song on the EP.
Absolutely. Mourn, O Child in Decay. This one's featuring Blake Mullins. This one I noticed definitely has the most Blackened flavor. From the way it starts, like the beginning riff, it's definitely heavy callbacks to like, fucking much older black metal, dude. Like, fucking the Mayhem and the Empyrean and all that shit, dude. Or is that Emperor? Fuck, it doesn't matter, dude. I don't know all those Norwegian fucks names. They all sound the same. I'm kidding. Because he said he was really trying to go for that Blackened sound. And I think, with this song in particular, like he nailed it. So the clip I want to show, well, I kind of want to play the beginning of it just to kind of give you an idea of that. And then we can go into some of my favorite guitar tones that he uses. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pause it there. But yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself, dude. Definitely like heavy callbacks to old black metal in that first beginning riff.
And, if you're anybody's watching or listening to this, you're not going to see what we're seeing because we're watching YouTube videos. But I love something I haven't called out yet in the interview in here is Sean's aesthetic, the kind of pink and purple aesthetic that he has to everything that he does. Man, it's master class as far as like when you see his album art or his videos, anything, it's him because it has a color scheme and it looks rad. So
yeah,
and it's got that dark, like putting pink with the dark themes and stuff like that. I thought was fucking awesome. And
I wonder if that's like influence taken from Mayhem because their like first like demo or EP or whatever, I forget what it was called, but it was meant to be a red album cover, and the way it got printed, like it didn't come out quite right, so it ended up being like a hot pink was the color of the album. They themselves, like Euronymous and shit, were like, yeah, fuck it, that's badass because it's pink on a black metal album, dude. So they kept with it. But I think if you look at it as Spotify, it is red. But if you ever could find an original print of it, it's hot pink.
Aesthetic matters, man. I mean, and not as much today as it used to, because I mean, like we talked about before, sometimes you used to buy CDs based on the album cover, but it does matter. Like the visuals that you do give a flavor, that do give a different flavor to your music. So I like that he did it. It shows his style. So
well, and I'm also curious how because I'm almost certain he used like AI art for the album cover. At least that's what it seems like, like,
yeah, it does look like that.
Because AI art's kind of like, you can kind of tell, you know, because obviously we use it, to some degree too for our shit. But the videos he, has done for his music are very like AI generated as well, but they're cool as shit.
Yeah.
Next time we talk to him, we need to ask him like how he goes about that, or how he arranges it, or what he uses to like create those.
If there's a specific artist that's doing this stuff, friggin' let us know, Sean, because it's pretty dope.
Yeah. The second clip I wanted to showcase, and this is just to showcase like my love for the guitar tone he chose. This is at the 223 mark, and you're just going to get some fucking heavy bass supporting some heavy ass chugs here, dude. So, which is just, I mean, that's my shit. So here we go. Man, just everything about that part, dude, from like the tone of the jun to the tone to the like, the top line guitar that's kind of sitting at the back, kind of supporting it. And then like how fucking forward the bass was. Everything about that part was fucking awesome, dude. I love that part.
So not as much of, I wish I can remember that word. It's like syncopathy or synco something, but it's like the way that you mess with the snare and the cymbals. There wasn't as much in that riff, but there was a little bit where like it was just slightly off of where you're going to rock your head, but it still fits.
Yeah.
It still gave it that flavor. I'll take the next sample. So this one, I have an interesting factoid here. So this takes place at the 4-minute mark. And actually, I think around 4:08 is where it actually happens. I just backed it up a little bit so we capture everything. So if anybody's familiar with the Fibonacci sequence, so Fibonacci sequence is a pattern that you see in nature all the time, and people use it. A lot of people do classical music, Bach and, all those different guys.
Yeah.
They use the Fibonacci sequence to lace in changes in the music and transitions, and they make it that way. So if you take the time of a song and you divide it by or multiply it by 0.61, that's the Fibonacci spot. It's actually called a phi moment if you put a transition right there. And a lot of songs do this. Sometimes it just happens naturally because it's a feeling, and humans try to find order in things. Mm-hmm. So there's this natural order that happens at that point. So this part, I doubt it was planned, but this transition that comes in happens at the phi moment, at the 0.61 of the song.
Dude, you're being kind of a fucking sweat right now, dude. Who picks up on this shit, dude?
Yeah, so I don't know if Sean knew that, but this particular transition
He's
takes
probably
part.
sitting there like, what a fucking nerd.
So let's go ahead and play it. All right, I'll go ahead and stop it there. So that transition into the more symphonic part, which I'm still interested in those like really high pitched sounds that were going on in the background.
Yeah.
If that was guitar or not. There definitely was a layer of ambience that is guitar, but there's definitely a higher level, like high pitched sound that's like.
Yeah, where it's almost like airy.
Yeah.
Sounding. Yeah.
It almost sounds like a bell or a xylophone, like the real high, but just kind of like with reverb or whatever on it. But
yeah.
So I always look for that when I do songs. And this is one that actually hit, I think it's a couple, because 408 is where the phi moment's supposed to be. And I think that hits at like 406. So it was only like 2 seconds off, which is pretty close for a 6-minute song. There you go. There's math core for you. Some fucking hardcore math, some natural math.
Yeah, I love that, dude. That was another section, but I had a feeling you were going to pick that part, so I left it out. I'm actually glad you played that part because I noticed another little Easter egg. So this I'm just going to kind of chalk up as like just drawing, influence from, again, Lorna Shore. So there's a line of, and I can't remember if Sean, because I know Sean said he had written lyrics for Deathblight Chalice for Devin. And then there was another song he wrote lyrics for, but it might have been on the Scarlet EP. I can't recall. Regardless, so there's a line in here that says, my dying breath swallowed by the infinite is the lyrics. And it took me 0.2 seconds to fucking figure it out. I was like, wait a minute. That sounds familiar. So can you guess?
I don't know.
So in To the Hellfire, Will Ramos in the chorus, he says, my final breath swallowed by the womb of death.
Oh, okay.
So very, very similar right there. Again, I mean, we all draw influence from different places, dude. And
Yeah.
there's plenty of examples of like riffs just being straight up ripped off from other people.
It's like the Will Ramos quote, but on DMT. Because Followed by the Infinite feels more like psychedelic in word choice.
It was like, yo, let me copy your homework. It's like, all right, just change it up so nobody can tell.
Yeah. All right, so that was the last song. If we didn't mention, that has Blake Mullins as well from Disembodied Tyrant.
Yeah.
And also King Malice.
I'll go ahead and just hop right into the pros and cons of this one, dude. Again, this was another fun listen, dude. I'm going to continue to listen to both of these EPs pretty steady. So for the pros of this one, production and the mix on this album are just super fucking clean. Again, you could hear a pin drop through the chaos. It's just masterfully done. And the guitar tones were fucking top notch. Second pro is all the features, again, on this album just brought their fucking A game. In fact, I would say if you're looking for like some of their best work between Devin, Johnny, Blake, I mean, this EP is a perfect showcase of what they can all are capable of as vocalists. And they just didn't hold back on it. I'm sure fucking, I can only imagine Sean was super stoked with their performance on it, dude, because you can't ask for any better. Another pro point, the lyrics flowed really well based on what I read and me following along, except for that Devin part where I just gave up. I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that. But good rhyming. I mean, it was almost like kind of like hip hop, influence, the way that the lines matched up perfectly. It just flowed really well. I liked that the symphonics, if you can even call them that, the guitar tones that served as symphonics had more of a supporting role. Because I love ambience, dude. That's my favorite thing ever within music. I like looking for the Easter eggs in the music. And finally, the breakdowns are just heavy as fucking balls, dude. This had some really good breakdowns on it.
I agree. So I'll go into my three. So for me, Deathblight Chalice was my number one off the EP. Okay. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ambience. And what I enjoyed about the ambience, I didn't say earlier, is that it was the most progressive chord progression to my ear. That's to the credit of the song, but also a con on the EP is I wish he would have done more of that, and we would have gotten more of that, because a lot of the ambience and just progressions felt very just like Blackened and leaning more towards his influences. I wish he would have gotten more progressive with his chord progressions and so on and so forth. I hope on his next EP he explores that a little bit more and kind of pulls out of the Blackened a little bit more and gives us more of like his own flavor. Mm-hmm. But I do hope that he keeps in his influence as well. So just a different ratio, if you will. So Deathblight Chalice was number one for me. I would put Mourn, O Child, and Decay at 2, and Embrace of Vacuity and Of with a V. So that's the order. So, pros are definitely some interesting chord progressions here. The guitar playing is definitely well done. It's a no thrills style. It's just very on point.
Yes.
And the way that he does his time signatures, I guess we could say, or the way he delays things like I talked about before, or kind of gets ahead of the beat. I really like that. It feels more raw, and that matches the style of music rather than being directly on the beat every time. That gets kind of programmatic.
Yeah.
And his drum programming, he said he starts with the drums. It makes sense because the drum programming has made me rethink how I program drums completely. So there's a lot of things in there that I would have probably tried in terms of like how he lays out those things and take it out because it's not on the like exactly where it should be, if you will. So I definitely enjoyed all that stuff. Cons, I wish he did more. I want him to go more progressive. And actually something I would challenge Sean to do is to do a straight instrumental where he just goes off on the guitar, because I can tell that he has the ability to do it. So really challenge himself to do like some over the top solos maybe, or just do something really intricate more so than he's already done. So I would love to hear just a solid instrumental by him.
Yeah, actually, that's crazy, dude, because that was going to be my critique as well. I mean, it followed some very safe patterns to like kind of to a fault. Like, the music beat was a little predictable, a little formulaic, but not in a bad way. I mean, I certainly enjoyed what I listened to. Whatever he does next, I would like to see more variability. And honestly, I just want to see him go nuts, dude. I want to see what all he's capable of. I want chaos from him.
Yeah.
So that would be my feedback. But I mean, overall, it's super solid, dude. Sean, if you're listening, you did a great job. Both of you guys did a fucking great job on these EPs. As one-man bands, I mean, we could only hope to, obtain some level of fidelity within our own music. And I'm glad I listened to these EPs in particular, because you guys sent benchmarks that, I want to try to achieve now.
Especially this early in your careers and at the level of resources that I imagine that each of you have, that Josh and Sean have. Because, someone like Lorna Shore, they got the backing of Centria Media.
Yeah.
They got the backing of, high-end producers, all this stuff. And, you can hire people on, but they're expensive. I'm just amazed that they were able to achieve this level with the resources that they have. So definitely kudos to them for that. And overall, I'm going to give it 1 wobbly H. And the wobbly H I'm going to give it is the 2 pillars are going to be pre-transformation Yennefer, and then Henry Cavill on the other pillar, and then me in between. And you can watch whoever wants to watch. That's the rating I give it.
1 wobbly H comes out to a solid 11. You just got to break the middle, dude.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, no, dude. Fantastic job, guys. Again, thank you for the interviews. Thank you for all the insight into the EPs. If you guys have any feedback for us as far as this review, as far as our podcast goes, we're more than open to hearing that. Fucking hope to shoot the shit with you guys again. And yeah, dude, this was a fun time, but now we're moving on to the next thing. This is, for everybody listening, we've kind of caught ourselves in a little bit of a pickle. We're a blackened pickle, if you will, where we found ourselves like, it's really easy because there's just a ton of saturation, and it's a good thing really, but a ton of blackened shit coming out. Some good, some great, some not so good. We're going to start changing gears a little bit and expanding out a little more. So if you've listened to our podcast for strictly black and metal, we're trying to go beyond that a little bit. Not to saying we're leaving it behind. It's coming with us. We love it very much.
Yep.
But we're also doing other shit. So
yeah, we're definitely going to keep up the reactions. So if you haven't seen those, go on YouTube and watch them. And that's where we're going to be diverse. We're going to dig into a bunch of stuff that we haven't heard yet and some stuff that we have. We're going to choose some different genres that maybe we're not so versed in, so we can get better at understanding those. So one idea that we do have right now is to go progressive death metal, like the Fallujahs and all those different type of bands, and digging in there. Maybe a little Faceless, which is kind of adjacent.
Yeah, and some tech death. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, tech death, progressive death metal. And really, because that's a whole genre that I missed out, and I would love to delve in, because, I mean, guitars on those is just out of this world. So,
and I mean, if you guys, I mean, we'll explore it all. Like, I want to get into like really the depths of doom metal, all that shit, dude. So if you guys have any suggestions for us, go ahead and leave some links down in the comments for us. We'll check out whatever, dude. Going forward, if you guys just got some bangers for tech death or progressive death metal, fucking send them our way.
Yeah, and get interactive with our stuff. If you listen, you don't like, whatever it is, leave us comments. We read them. We'll take your feedback, and we'll take it with a grain of salt, whatever it is. And join the Jun Jun tribe. Follow us on social media. Comment on our videos. We're going to, at some point, get some merch going, and we'll give free merch to OGs. So anybody that that follows and likes and all that type of stuff, or comments and tells us how much we suck, those people we still value too. So
Yeah.
get into it and let us know. So we're on every, like we say all the time, we're on every platform except for Twitter, because fuck Twitter. We're on
Fuck
Facebook,
Twitter.
Instagram. We're Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, Spotify. So get us some views so we can see that people are listening, and we know to keep doing this, that people actually are jiving with it.
And I would say one last little thing before we go. You know, if you consume us mostly as our podcast, you like just streaming our shit on Spotify or Google Podcasts, wherever the case may be, I will say you could potentially be missing out. We do extra content within YouTube, whether that be reactions, whether it be band interviews, artist interviews, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we value you on Spotify, but also go check out our YouTube. There's extra shit there for you. Aside from that, for people on YouTube, fucking like, subscribe, hit the bell. I love you, all you gay bats, all you silly gay bats.
Yeah, all you Oonga Boongas. Definitely.
Yeah, Oonga Boonga, fucking Jun Daves out there. That's like, if you're a stan for Jun, dude, you're a Jun Dave.
And we're actually crowd kill allies. So if you do crowd kill, I know there's been a lot of hate lately, and we want to say we're here for you. We're going to start a hotline and everything. So if you want to have a friend in crowd killing, we're your friend. Just subscribe. Yeah. And you got a friend in me. All right. Well, I think that's it. Fucking word to your moms.
Later, guys.